This is the Scrap Metal and Commodities Recycling Report by BENLEE Roll-Off Lugger at Open Top Trailers and Raleigh Goldsboro Metal Recycling, Monday, August 1st, 2016. In this report, commodity prices and economic reports were mixed. U.S. steel production declined a bit and has been trending down slightly now for about 6 weeks. Oil prices continue declining, but still remain much higher than they were just 6 months ago. And gasoline has begun declining as well, which is a nice positive for those of us with trucking fleets and will help the consumer. The oil rig count increased again last week, and we have heard stories of hiring and measurable capital investment in the oil fields, which will help support commodity prices. Iron ore finished up at $59 a metric ton, making it a big 6% up for the week and a big 11% up for the month, which means iron ore is now up more than 50% from the lows of about 7 months ago. Scrap steel prices have remained steady, but there is word of some increases in export prices, yet at least one major steel mill canceled orders last Friday, meaning there could be lower prices coming this week. It remains probable that prime grades will be weaker than obsolete grades due to weak flows of obsolete material coming into scrapyards. Hot-rolled coil prices remain stable at fairly high levels. Tariffs raising import prices continue to have their effect on keeping overall prices higher. And we see 304 stainless scrap prices held near their recent high. Copper declined slightly during the week, but ended up about where it started. And copper remains in a trading range. So the one-year copper chart shows it is where it was about 8 months ago. And when looking at this 5-year copper inventory chart, levels are near multi-year lows, which is another positive when looking at global activity, due to the price of copper can be an indicator of global activity. Aluminum declined 2 weeks ago, but had a major nice uptick last week. The aluminum industry, like copper, took enormous amounts of production offline last year. And when looking at inventory levels, we see stabilization after years of declines, which help reduce the years of falling prices. Ford announced second quarter earnings that were slightly down from last year, yet first half earnings were a record in the company's history. But Ford's stock price declined as they also announced that sales in the U.S. may no longer be growing, and they've stabilized at these record levels. Wall Street likes growth, not just high levels. Of course, these high levels keep upward pressure on commodity prices, so that's good news. U.S. initial jobless claims rose a bit, but the 4-week average is at the lowest level since April. And at 266,000 claims, it is well below the 300,000, which is a key measure meaning job growth continues. Caterpillar, a major supplier to the commodities industry, released lower earnings last week and said, "We're not expecting an upturn in important industries like mining, oil and gas, and rail to happen anytime this year. And once it does recover, we expect substantial incremental profit improvement." This forecast could mean somewhat stable commodity prices this year, with upward pressure possibly coming in 2017. Waste Management, the country's largest waste hauler, released that their earnings were 5% ahead of last year. As an indicator of positive U.S. growth, they said that their commercial collection volume grew for the first time since 2005. But they reported that recycling volumes actually declined 2.9% for the quarter. U.S. gross domestic product GDP was released last week and showed a slow 1.2% growth, which, while slow, makes this the 4th largest period growth since the end of World War II. China's Caixin Manufacturing Index PMI rose to 50.6 in July from 48.6 in June and beat market consensus of 48.7. It was over 50, so it's the first month of expansion since February 2015, as output rose the most in 2 years and new orders expanded at the fastest pace in nearly 1.5 years. I will add that there was another report out of China last night that showed a small decline in activity. With that, we hope all have a safe and profitable week. My name is Greg Brown.